Welcome to the D&D world of Roll 420s from Binge on This. Join along as a racially confused cleric.
My name is Flint Fireford. I'm actually a human cleric, but I totally believe that I'm a dwarf.
A klepto with a forgotten past.
My name is Silver with a Y, with no memory before the age of 89.
A 300-pound stoner that was raised by Monty Python pirates.
My name is Thelonious Kindbud of Clan Kindbud, and I'm the captain of the Sing Semilla.
And a woodsman from Montana.
Steve, he's real big into bagpipes, too.
As they go on a wild campaign known as...
The campaign, I've called it the War of the Brother Kings.
Fuck, you baller monster.
Join us for this brand new D&D campaign on an all-new show from Binge on This called Roll 420s.
I think one of the other things too was, hey everybody, welcome to This, That, and the Other. My name is Bryan, and I am your friendly neighborhood co-host. And as always, I'm here joined with my friendly neighborhood co-host, Sam.
Sam, what's up, guys? Hello, radio voice.
Hope everybody's doing okay. It's beautiful and sunny in downtown Los Angeles right now. The riots have ceased a little bit, but it does seem like tensions are high. And today we are coming to you live on behalf of Starkiss. That's right. Chicken of the Sea is what they call it.
What?
I don't know. I picked up tuna today, and
I thought it was a taser company from the cops that...
Starkiss, is that what it is?
No, I'm saying I thought there was another, we had another sponsor from the taser companies.
Oh, no. So where we were,
we were talking about your dog's snotty issue.
There you go. So Khalees has snot. For everybody who knows my dog, he's a little older. He's 8 years old.
Yeah, take a pause from the world collapsing.
Yeah, let's take a second. I've decided
and talk about our puppies.
I've decided after you were like, so what are we doing with the show with the thing? And I kind of took a second, and I was like, at this point we have to, because it's not, what's going on. There's no.
We could talk about it.
We can always talk about it, and we have What's Hood, and we have all the other ways of doing it, but. To go any further, to start really pushing it any further, like you said, it turns into something completely different. And
yeah, I'm seeing that with a lot of my friends too. I have a lot of friends doing that. They're fucking activists at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying us using the we term of you, me, and us. I never politically had a stance when we had this show. We've never, but we can't take a stance when it comes to cops killing people. I'm down with that. As for defunding the cops and doing all that wild stuff, that's
we're
whatever.
Getting into politics. I don't care. We can talk about our views on it. I get it, but at one point, my thing was it's just my feed was just inundated with that shit, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to. Is Cartoon Network? Yeah, we'll take an 8-minute, 30-second, break, but they did that. I think Cartoon Network,
Nickelodeon did.
Nickelodeon, yeah. So it's just I get that, and we should acknowledge it, and we should strive and whatever. But
and it's not we've never been it's not like we've never not been for the people. We've always been for the people. Our whole platform has been for the people. So it's not like we've been the thin blue line. Our show isn't dedicated to
no. And
but
I still want to put out there that my dad was a cop. I have a lot of cops in my family, and that's why I can't be I can't walk around going fuck the police. That's not the way I feel about it.
No, of course not.
Because I know human beings that are in that would totally go against what that guy did, and that guy should have obviously known better. But
yeah,
what it comes down to, instead of defunding the police, reallocate the funds that are already there.
That's where, when you said that to me, I was like, okay, see, when I was running with my thumbs instead of running with my brain, and I was just like, fuck, it just starts, and so I had another conversation with someone else in that regards, and I had to fact check myself by fact checking him. And as I was going through this whole thing, I was like, why are we doing this? Why am I doing this right now? Why are we? And I just. That's what
my thing. I've been telling Jane through this whole thing, because she tried to post some things and she got in some Instagram arguments, and I'm like, listen, you're not going to change anyone's mind.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to spend a lot of your day
Yeah.
on thinking about this, on whatever the argument is, and you're going to be trying to come up with like statistics. You're Googling statistics to fucking jot down, and like, why are you going to spend that energy on that right now? We have enough problems. Like,
and that's what it became. It was like, just became like another homework assignment. Like, it just became like another, who can come up with the most dead cop or dead people statistics.
Yeah. Or, oh my God, look, here's a video of some dude fucking doing this and some dude doing that. And
it's just, so that's when I was
race,
like,
look at his race. And you know what's funny too? There was this one post that was just from, I think it was TMZ, and which is obviously stupid, but they were like, you know, police used excessive force on protesters, and it shows the picture, and it's cops like macing and doing all this shit to these kids. And I'm looking at the background of the picture, and I'm like, it's in the middle of a freeway. They've stopped traffic, and I'm looking at the red truck. And then I remembered another video that I saw that day, and I went and found it. And it's the same red truck that had stopped, and these kids swarmed, pulled the guy out, beat the shit out of him. It was the same fucking truck. Those were the same kids that were in front of that truck. And these cops were trying to save the guy. And meanwhile, it's posted as, you know, using excessive force. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, my man?
crazy, right?
What are you doing?
I'm just kind of, I'm beyond. Yeah, I'm over it. So
Jane has an audio engineer friend. He does editing for audio. And they were talking because he's helping her with some stuff. And she said, you know, what do you think about all this? Well, he's a white male. So he's like, honestly, I'm just sitting back and listening because I that's, you know, whatever. And he goes, but the thing that's really crazy to me is the amount of videos that I've seen doctored online that people are saying it's true. He goes, it's clearly the heads turn. It's an audio dub, you know.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of those.
Yeah, and to the point where I can see them. If I can see them, you know, it's just like they don't even give a shit anymore. It's just put out there, and then you look at the comments, and people are believing every fucking thing they see out there.
Yeah. It's just
And what's with the stones being left everywhere?
The what?
The fucking bricks.
Whatever,
Plates of bricks put everywhere.
I don't know.
I heard a good joke. Was it Donnell Rawlings? He was like, I bet you that's Jeff Bezos fucking putting Amazon delivering boxes of bricks out there.
George Soros or the cops. I saw footage of cops unloading bricks and putting them into piles out in Boston. Like, there's a lot of gross stuff happening right now. And I don't think us jumping into the middle of a battle that we don't fully understand and frankly aren't going to really not change our minds, but we know what we know. Like, you know, we shouldn't, you know, not all cops are bad. Like, in the same way that not all black people are bad. We can't make those generalizations on either side of it. It's not fair. It wouldn't be fair.
And the whole, you know, all lives matter, Black lives matter. Yes, all lives do matter. But to my friends that don't understand the whole Black Lives Matter group is that they don't feel like they're at the all lives matter line.
Right. I explained it really well, not to blow myself, but I explained it really well on last week's episode of What's Hood, because I had to fill in for FC.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you pulled your eloquent feather out and put it in your cap?
Shit, bro. I went back and listened to it and I was like, who is this guy? Like,
who is this?
This gentleman. I was like,
you put glasses on?
Yeah, I was like, this guy got leather things on the end of his tweed jacket, and I'm like, but for all I know, it could have been like when Charlie thought he was smart.
Oh yeah,
he was like, yeah, always. But the way I see it, and I say this as a Colombian native, as a man who is 100% Colombian, who's from El Paisa, from El Llano. You know, my people are Indian people. They're Afro, you know, mixed with slaves, like, and FC has said this before also, is the Hispanic culture, our community, us brown people as a whole, we can always feel oppressed because we were invaded, but we can never feel like we weren't at home, if that makes any sense. Because this is our home.
Right.
Nobody came from here except us, in the same way that the Native Americans and the Indians did. But the black man was ganked, jacked, sold by his own people. You know what I mean? Like, it is sold by his own people. And this is taking aside from the fact that slavery has existed since the beginning of time.
Since cavemen could take another caveman and be like, fucking do this.
We're not focusing on, because that comes down to a power dynamic. That doesn't come down to like something, well, I mean, I guess that is inherent, but that comes down to a power thing. Like, you're not born thinking, hey, I need to go out and I need to conquer black people. You're taught that. Like you're the
I don't know,
Spanish
man. I'm
conquistadors
white and I was born and like there was some gene, like the mutant gene. When I was 12, I was like, I need to conquer shit.
You think?
No, I'm
You just kicked it. You were just
that was my mutant power. I was like,
oh, your
white
mutant
human power.
We come up with the worst useless superheroes like, that don't do anything.
He just needs to conquer.
Purposes, like a superhero who only heats your food up just a little bit and leaves the center cold. What a useless power. But the black man will always feel that way. There's no way for him not to feel that way.
Yeah, but also, like, I feel you, and I get that. I was listening to the Hodge twins. Have you seen their take on this whole thing?
They've been kind of all over this place, man. Like, I've been reading some weird stuff about them too. That like people are saying that they're like they're shells now. Like they're I don't know. Like I don't. Everybody has some article that says something about somebody else.
But you know, wouldn't we like to be shells? Like it's always like, oh, he sold out. It's like, what are you talking about? Like
isn't that the goal?
The man,
like,
well, that, but like they're shells. Like, well, who do you think walked up to them? Some fucking CIA agent was just like, all right, Hodge twins, you guys got 200,000 followers.
Yeah.
You're agents now.
No, that
like,
should
what?
happen with an email. It was just like, doodly-doot. But what were you saying? What did they say?
So no, basically their point is, it's like, they went on this whole like, they're being very pro-Trumpy about the whole thing. And so that's kind of funny to me to watch that and to listen to the comments, especially. But they were basically saying like, we're not African Americans. I'm a fucking American. I'm a black American. He goes, I'm African. Like my ancestors are from Africa. He goes, it's just as dumb as saying like, I'm Italian American. It's like, no, motherfucker, you're American with Italian heritage and you could be proud of that. But like, and that's what they were saying. It's like, are you guys going to hold on to that? And move past that and live your own life, live a good life.
Well, they're an example of mind over your environment. You know what I mean? Like they've taken that next step. Do you know what I mean? For them, they're enlightened in that sense because they're able to release that without any issues and move on.
Some people can't because they're being oppressed every day.
There you go. So I'm with that. I get that 100%. You and the part of me that is very proud of being Colombian comes from a kid who is just learning about it. Maybe I would speak differently if I had grown up 100%, integral into the Latin community, but I didn't. I grew up as a white kid. I grew up white. That's just the simple fact of the matter. So when I speak about it now, it probably comes with a little bit more emphasis than
it's the same thing with me. We have a sense of we're observers.
Yeah. And
like
so
we're observing this happening.
At that limit, you could call me whatever. You could call me all types of stuff, Beaner or whatever, or anything. Like those things are small to me. They're miniature. When it comes down to it, the Hodge twins are right. We are American. I can't take that away or say anything against that. But
I don't know about you though.
Well, technically, because I am American.
Let me see that card. Let me see your taxes.
I can be vice president, but I can't be president.
Is that how it works? You can be vice president?
I think so, yeah, but I just can't be president, which is whack, but whatever. Because technically, George Washington, he wasn't born here, right?
But no, wait. But that means if the president dies and you're vice president, you become president. So then you're the first president that's not American born.
I'll have to double check on that because
if that's the way, that's the back door to become a president that wasn't born on this land.
That's how we get The Rock in there.
That's how we get Arnold. No, The Rock's American, right? He's Hawaiian.
Was he?
Yeah,
yeah,
he's Hawaiian. No, I'm talking about Arnold. I'm trying to get Arnold in there.
Oh, you want Arnold back? I mean, if you look back at those California economic numbers, but anything is going to look better before Corona.
At this point, I would take George Bush back.
Yeah, anything's going to look better than that.
Let's revive fucking Reagan at this point.
But with that said, we're in full support of the Black Lives Matter movement. We don't agree with killing cops. But we do believe that
dude, did you see that cop that got shot in the head? That fucking captain
protecting the pawn shop.
Dude, I mean, like, and it's black cops that, what the fuck, man?
It's your own people, man. If I had a nickel for every self-hating Latino person I've met or talked to over the past 2 weeks, it's just crazy, you know, it's just wild. So Binge on this network is going to return back to our regularly scheduled programs.
Or it'll be peppered in there to talk about it. But at one point I thought to myself, let's not get too activist at this point.
No, because we are the shits and giggles branch of our network, and to be bogged down by that would be unfair to the rest of the 20 people that are listening.
I don't think our demographic cares about our viewpoints on politics anyway.
Who knows though? Because guess what? We're getting weird downloads from weird states and weird countries, dog. Like Ireland downloaded us a whole bunch the other day. Japan has started showing up, and like 4 dudes in Tokyo downloaded us. Like we're getting sprinkled all over the map, man. Germany downloads us at least 2 times every week. Like
they're like,
there's a German dude. There's like a German dude who listens to like our shows. Like
there's Americans talking about Black lives.
It's wonderful. I love it. So, but let's move on to some current news. Other than what's currently happening, but there's a funny thing that showed up for me on my Google, on my Yahoo, because I use an
STD
on my DuckDuckGo, which is our preferred browser.
I thought you were talking about your Yahoo.
No, I saw that. Have you ever seen a show called Duck Commander?
Sounds familiar. Hold on.
Duck Commander. So while you're looking that up, Duck Commander was a show on the awesome A&E network with the American Entertainment Network. Is that what that stands for? The Aliens and Elephants Network. And it was the story of a Louisiana family who had started a small duck calling business and turned it into a multi-million-dollar
You're talking
empire.
about Duck Dynasty.
What did I say?
Duck Commander.
That's the name of the business. I'm sorry. Duck Dynasty.
Oh, I'm looking for a fucking cartoon or something.
No, Duck Dynasty.
I'm thinking like a Darkwing Duck type.
No,
I'm like, Duck Commander.
No.
I mean,
no.
I remember when the Mighty Ducks had their TV show.
No, Duck Dynasty. Oh, that was great, dog. Yo, real quick, let's talk about that. The cartoon, Mighty Ducks cartoon, they came from a planet of ducks.
It had made no sense.
It made no sense. And they played space hockey. It was baller. Yo, thank you for confirming that I didn't invent that in my head. And
no, I think they only had like one, possibly 2 seasons, but I think it's just 1 season.
They had a sick ass theme music. Yeah. That was the shit.
They did the Flying V.
The Flying V. So, Dynasty Warriors. Oh, wait. Duck Dynasty. Dynasty Warriors.
That's a video game now?
That's a different thing. So Duck Dynasty is a story about this Louisiana family who gets really rich after making duck calls. And the head of the family, the patriarch, so you will, his name is Phil. Now, Phil is a very interesting character. Phil is a born-again Christian. Before Phil became a born-again Christian, he used to play football and was a starting quarterback for LSU in Louisiana State.
Okay.
He not only started all 4 years, but he was going to go and play NFL football. He was ranked in the nation to go and play professional quarterback football. And the dude who was behind him was Terry Bradshaw.
Shit.
That's how good Phil Robinson was at playing football. And the only reason he didn't go into the NFL and get drafted by the Steelers was because duck hunting season and football season was at the same time, and he didn't want to have to choose. So he quit football to focus on duck hunting.
Wow.
Well,
he built a big successful business.
So he begins this duck thing, starts whittling out these duck calls by hand. And they're very good. They're very precise. They're very unique. And he and his sons and everybody, they all get together and they essentially create this Duck Dynasty. So they get these like 6 or 7 seasons on A&E,
hold on. Before you get into the seasons of A&E, did you see what they looked like before they started the show? And
no beards, clean shaven. Both of the sons went to college. One of them has a business degree. The CEO kid.
Normal looking people.
Normal, chill fellas. But Phil has always been Phil.
Yeah. Well, because he's the duck man.
He's the duck man, baby. And so A&E just gives them the show. They have 6 great seasons. Their main stay point at the time, which was not necessarily controversial, but you won't see it that much anymore, was they are Christians. They are devout Christians, which means every time that episode ends, they sit down and they pray. And there's a little scene, and Phil does the little, he's like, well, I'd like to tell you the Lord that he's come down and he's blessed me and the rest of my family, and I love him. It's like, oh, wholesome, wonderful. Great ratings. Annie loves it. Fast forward 6 years, right? Phil Robertson gets his hand on Twitter, right? And he starts tweeting all types of Bible shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Not fuck gay people, but damn the queers, and
Yeah. He's pretty Old Testament on that.
Old Testament, baby. Right? Gets the show canceled. All right. So everybody's kind of like, damn. But it happens because
but they still have a multi-million-dollar
Oh,
company
they're
whose
good,
demographic believes what he believes in.
Oh, you already know, baby. LSU ain't gonna stop blowing them duck whistles, baby. They know what they got.
Yeah.
So recently, Phil Robinson has started a podcast called Unashamed on YouTube. He's got about 8 seasons right now. I personally like Phil. I'm not a Christian man, but I do like people who have faith. I think faith is something that's interesting to me as a man, who has been learning about faith and getting a little bit more accustomed to his own life. I like to see other people, whether they believe in whatever. You could believe in the flying spaghetti monster for all I care. If you're a good dude and you do good things and you're a nice fella, whatever.
Yeah, you could believe in what we don't believe in.
You could be a Satanist. There's a Great American Dad episode in the first season 3 or something where Stan, hardcore Republican, wants to find a new friend, and Stan finds a friend of his that completely believes in everything else that's opposite of him, but he loves him. He's like, I love this dude. I can't, he's blue as hell, but I love him. And then he ends up selling his soul to the devil, and he goes, but Stan, just because I sold my soul to the devil doesn't change who I am. I'm still a cool dude. We still got, and so I wouldn't be friends with Sam if he sold his soul to the devil, but maybe if he taught me how to play guitar, I might. So Phil Robinson, right? Like him. He's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? And then recently, on episode 8 of Unashamed, Phil Robinson brings up his illegitimate child from 46 years ago before he found Christ.
So wait, did people know about him?
So.
Or was this a fucking drop on his YouTube?
Backtrack 30 years. Phil Robinson, the alcoholic and drug user, around his 20s, is married to Miss K, who is the matriarchy of the family. She's a wonderful lady. Their relationship is weird, though, because they started dating when Miss K was 13 or 14, and Phil Robinson was 17 years old. And it's Louisiana. We're just glad they're not cousins.
They're
okay,
close.
Annie?
I mean, at least he was under 18.
So,
if I had
and
to
God
say it,
forgive us if Annie comes back and listens to everything we said, but that's whatever. I can't.
Louisiana.
I'm gonna make a graphic that goes "Shrink Louisiana." The more you know. So he gets into a bit of trouble. He's a drunk. He's a drunkard. He's a druggie. He hasn't found God, essentially. He hasn't found Christ yet.
He's like, what do I have without this football?
Cheats on his wife, right? 3 weeks later, finds Christ, right? Tells Miss K. Miss K knows this, but no one knows that this other lady gets knocked up. 10 years.
But he knew that she was knocked up.
No idea. Fast forward 30 years after the initial indiscretion, we'll call it. This lady.
So is he, at this point, he's famous?
He's the Duck Commander at this point.
Yeah, or Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, Duck Dynasty.
Well, Commander. Yeah,
At this point, his illegitimate daughter, who's named, get this, Phyllis, by no choice or anything at all, pure coincidence by the people who adopted her, pure coincidence.
Oh, so that lady gave her up.
So Phyllis gets gifted a 23andMe gift for her birthday when she's 42 or something. And she takes the test and she finds out that her brother and sister are only her half brother and sister or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. She realizes that they aren't full.
But so I thought you said she was adopted.
Oh, I'm sorry. She didn't get adopted. She didn't get adopted. I apologize.
So what's
The mother kept her and remarried her, but she never told Phil Robinson about the baby.
But why would she call her Phyllis?
I don't know.
That's weird.
That's weird, isn't it? And so she finds out that she's not fully related to her siblings, which leads her down this long, ridiculous path of detective work until finally someone says, yeah, your daddy.
Your mom was a slut.
Till one day she's watching A&E and she hears about Duck Dynasty. And then she hears that Phil has gotten the show canceled because of his anti-gay church remarks. Here's kicker number 2. She's just as religious as fucking Phil is.
Well,
She
it's
supports
probably the
him.
local area.
Probably the local area. I just can't believe that it. And so she
Imagine one of
down.
his sons hit on her and slept with her and they didn't know. Oh, wait, don't do that. Wait, what?
So 3 seasons or whatever into Duck Dynasty. She sends a letter, right? No response. She sends a second letter. Again, no response. She finally decides on the 3rd letter, she's going to hand deliver it to Phil. So she goes to the church that Phil sermons at every Sunday.
Down the street to the left.
And she sits at the back of the pew and she watches Phil do his sermon. And then Phil leaves without her being able to.
He does. Well, hold on. He does the sermon the whole time with the duck call.
Like, Jesus is like a duck. So she gives the letter to Jace, his son, the big bearded fella. And she goes, hey, I'm your stepsister, or I'm your half sister. You know, here's the test. Here's all the information. I just want him to know that I exist, you know? So Jace and his brother go back and they search for the other letters that she sent out and they find them. And they read all 3 of the letters.
In his daddy's drawer.
They take, well, no, that would have been wild. I don't even, and that's the thing. Phil didn't even know about any of this. And then
he ain't checking letters. He got people.
He ain't checking letters. He's hunting. The man didn't want to play basketball football. He wanted to hunt. So they bring her in. They run the tests. Bam. It's a match. So they hit Phil up. And what's Phil do? Bring the bitch onto his fucking podcast less than a week after knowing her. And just
he's like, this is going to be great stuff.
Opens it up and just throws it down. And she's like, you know what? You know, you're a God, you know, you're a God-fearing man. And like Miss K is a very nice lady. And like, they just got together like it was. And now they're taking pictures and Instagram pictures. And Mrs. K is like, I always wanted a daughter. That was like one of the running themes in the show was like, she had 4 sons and she always wanted daughters. And so like, it was, and so I was like, huh. And so I don't really have an ending to that bit or story.
But because he found Jesus, it's all good.
I don't know. I just have it in my notes. I don't know.
I mean, that's quite I mean, it's hard to make that up. That's really crazy, man. What do you do? But I just think it's funny how he's like, let's capitalize on this. It's going to be good for ratings. Hey, let's get you on the show.
Yeah,
How do you bring that up to her? Hey, do you want to come on my show? I'll tell you about everything.
He had to. I think he had to have been like, well, you know, why don't you come into the studio and we'll
hash it out there for everyone to see.
So I was just like, wow. But it's, pardon me, what it did make me think of is how difficult it must have been to be acknowledged by a parent that didn't know you existed before 23andMe, before you had any type of actual genetic marker, any type of proof. I couldn't imagine in like the 60s or the 70s, like somebody just writing you a letter.
I'd be like, look at my ear, look at our ears. They look
the same. You know,
we got the same smile.
Imagine that. Like, and that's what they had to base it off of. Like,
pretty much.
You got your father's smile, boy. Like, that's not a
playing with dates. You got to be like, you were in the same town with my mom from this date to that. Look, the letters.
It's like Cowboys, you know, when the Cowboys get the young. Like, do you remember Mary? She used to work at the whorehouse. That's my mom. Like, you know, and it just leave it to Louisiana for something backwards like that to fucking happen, you know. But if anything, Bryan, in the future, if a mysterious child of yours shows up in 30 years, have her on the podcast, because that shit is good exposure, brother. That's good exposure. What has been going on with you through the week?
Stuff.
Nothing, huh? You're really not that interesting. You know, I go back and I listen to you, and I'm starting to realize you're not really that interesting.
No, there's not much going on. I mean, there's stuff going on. It's just, I don't know. I'm working on this book. I'm dealing with the shit. I made a killing off the stock market yesterday.
A killing?
Yeah.
Couple pennies.
Yeah, a couple pennies. It's not. I mean, me just saying that, people are like, "You made lots of money."
That's what I mean. I was like, "Wow, killing is quite the word."
Yeah, well, killing meaning like for what I put in and what I got out of it. Like I went ahead, so I'm like, it's like gambling. You know, when you walk out of the casino, you're like, "I'm ahead."
Yeah.
Even if it's $200, you're like, "I'm ahead, $200, guys."
$200. I play the penny slots. If I walk away ahead with $5 after spending $2,
yeah, but
I'm
the stock market's for some reason rose crazy this last
No,
week.
I meant like if I were going to the casino. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened though. We're fucking rioting in the streets and stock markets are rising.
It's because they announced the virus, the vaccine.
Yeah, but still, I don't think that's.
They
really
announced the vaccine, and
who's making it?
Morovia.
Because I have Minerva and the other one. So.
I don't know if it's Minerva, but double check. I know it's an M something, but they started clinical testing on the vaccine, I think.
Yeah.
And that has a little bit to do with it. I also believe China has successfully quelled their protest in Hong Kong while everything was going on. And I think that's allowing them to sort of restabilize a little bit. And Taiwan, I believe, is also having some issues right now. And Taiwan produces a lot of shit there. So I think now that the world is kind of keeled out and come up a little bit even, I think we're going to see a little bit of a rise before we see a second dip. You will see a second dip by the end of the summer, though, that we will hit another low ground, because once winter comes, they're going to start saying there's a huge rise in viruses. Again, even though we just spent 4 days with over 500,000 people crammed together protesting across the street, and everything seems to be fine. So
I don't know about that. We'll see. They said it would take up to 2 weeks to see that spike.
Yeah, well, whatever. I have some more interesting tidbits that I want to talk about. Number one, for those of you guys who don't know, I will be returning to my great home state of Virginia. Yeah, Virginia this coming week. So with that being said, if there's anybody in the Virginia area that is listening and would be interested in having a one-on-one interview, if you have a talent or a trade that you would be interested on being featured on the show, or if you just want to sit down and talk about old times, feel free to give me a shout on Instagram at @thereal_Hawaiian Bryan, or you can always email us at bingeonThisChannel@gmail.com. Would definitely love to sit down and talk and speak with some of you. And speaking of people that I'd like to sit down.
Moderna, that's what it was. Sorry.
Oh, there it is. Moderna. Do you have them?
I sold them a while ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Anything I sell, I make a little bit of a profit on. But
well, of course,
yeah,
that's the only reason to sell it.
I should have held on to it. There's a couple, man, I should have held on to where I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's all right.
Fuck.
You've been making better calls than I expected, or than I assume you even expected. You know, like
I just scared the shit out of myself when I lost a little bit of money. I'm like, I got to know what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, you know who got really scared though is fucking Joe Biden. Did you see his interview? I didn't.
With Charlemagne?
With Charlemagne, I didn't realize what the fuck was going on. I didn't see it until just recently. Joe Biden's crazy. Joe Biden's senile. He's crazy.
Yeah,
he's
dude.
Weird. He's very weird, Sam. And he's very weird.
I don't get it, man. I don't get
weird.
Why. You know what I thought about? Imagine if Bernie was the Democrat, not, candidate. What he would have said through these protests, what his stance would have been on it, how loud he would have been. because he was all about protesting. I mean, shit, from college
where
on.
was he even now, though?
Probably drowned out.
You know,
The media's drowned out by too many voices at this point.
That is true. We can't knock him on that. I don't know. Bernie is kind of Bernie was fun to meme about, 4 years ago or 10 years ago, but at this point he's proven himself to be, whether it's unreliant or complicit, with the system.
Well,
I don't know. But at this point, I don't think
Biden's crazy though.
Biden's crazy, brother. Biden's crazy, and I'm surprised he didn't show up in the Black Book, in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, because I just don't like Biden's vibe, and I've seen the interviews that aren't edited, that are just straight live interviews, and he's weird. Like, you don't need to cut Biden up to make him into a fucking Adult Swim commercial. The man is weird.
Joe Rogan seems to think that he's dealing with some, he's senile.
He's got something going on. You don't go get to, what is he? He's 72, 71 or something like that. Like,
someone who saw their parents die, had dementia and everything like that, was like, that's how it starts. He sounds like someone who's starting to deal with dementia.
Yeah, like
what are you guys doing?
I don't know, man.
The last candidate, the fucking Hillary, she was fainting all over the place. Now you find this other fucking candidate that's losing his marbles. What the fuck are you guys doing?
I don't know. But I will tell you about a very interesting story I learned recently. It's about a gentleman who started something called the Silk Road. And shout out to
No, wasn't that?
Shout out to Count Dankula on YouTube for doing
I saw you watching Count Dankula. I was like, because I watched him back in the day, and I was like,
his new stuff, he has these like mini Mad Lads about animals that I'm loving. Like, they're so hilarious. But he recently, a year, maybe whenever ago, did a snippet about the Dread Pirate Roberts. Something that I had no idea about, considering that I don't spend a lot of time anymore on the internet the way I used to, but I've been on the Tor routers and I've deep dive and done my own thing, and I'm surprised that I never heard the story about this man. But this is the story of an honest to God true libertarian, a man who literally came up with his own economic system, and for 2 years made close to, in Bitcoin at the time of the conversion rate, he made close to $9 billion in 2 years using the Silk Road. And on his own, the Bitcoin he had in his wallet at the time of his arrest was valued at $28 million in the Bitcoins that he had in his wallet over the 2-year period. Yeah. So in just 2 years, that's what the Silk Road was able to output. Now, you guys can go and check out Count Dankula if you want. He does a great job. I'm only bringing this up because it's just very quick, and it's just something that has fascinated me throughout this whole period of, what, and you know what? It's not politics, so fuck you. I'll talk about what I want.
Even though he got fucked pretty hard by his country.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. So the Silk Road, all it is just eBay for drugs. I'm not going to build it up like the other homeboy did. That's all the motherfucker did. He literally just went to the deep web and started eBay for drugs. Shit was cash, bro. Shit was cash money. Like, motherfuckers were copping 8s on that bitch for like $6. Like, the exchange rate back in the day was bananas. And it's not even back in the day. I'm talking about it like it was 20 years ago. This shit happened in 2014, dog. The Silk Road was operational for 2 years until 2016. I had no idea about this. Anyways, go check it out on the motherfuckers thing. Long story short, what happens, right? They can't figure out what's going on. They can't figure out who's doing this, who's running this motherfucker, until an IRS detective, which I didn't even know they had, but an IRS accountant detective was looking through the information that he had available about the Silk Road and postings on the internet regarding the Silk Road, and he found an old posting on a forum related to a username that they had found previously to the Silk Road called Altoids. And in that posting, the username that went by Altoid was asking somebody how to code essentially an economic based system via Tor routers. And the dumb motherfucker who used his username said, if anybody needs to contact me, feel free to email me here. And he used his full name on the email address. And that's how the fucking IRS found him. And they used the original email address to track, and it was his name. I'll look up the dude's name right now, but it was his name. And they tracked it right to him. They found out where he was. They set up a sting on this kid to get control of his laptop because they assumed that he had a kill switch engaged into his laptop, not the band, an actual kill switch engaged.
Yeah, or magnets or some shit.
Which would kill the whole computer and erase everything. So this is what they do. They follow the kid, and he is a kid at this point, guys, because the Dread Pirate Roberts, Ross William Ulbrich, is 26 years old at this time, younger than I am. They follow him to a coffee shop where he's working on his laptop, and in front of him, a huge argument breaks out between a young lady and a man, and they're arguing, and it starts escalating. And Ross gets up, and he tries to de-escalate the situation. And little does Ross know that every single person in that coffee shop is an FBI agent, including the people that were causing the commotion. And as he got up to go and speak to them, an agent reached over, grabbed his laptop, put a USB in there, downloaded everything, and put it back. And less than 48 hours later or something like that, they arrested Ross for being the ringleader, the creator of the Silk Road. So this is where it gets really, really horrible. Ross gets hit with 7 counts, including the Kingpin charge, which is what they did Al Capone with, attempted murder of 4 people using Bitcoin as payment currency. And he was also charged with illegal distribution of narcotics. The man was hit with everything that you could possibly imagine. Now, Ulbrich stands and he states that 2 months after he created the Silk Road, he sold his portion of the Silk Road to a different administrator that was helping him at the time. And he claims that he had nothing to do with anything that happened 2 months after he created the Silk Road. Nobody bought it. Nobody believed it. And certainly not the government.
Is it still on his computer? Like when they downloaded that, if it's still on his computer,
everything, all the information was still on his computer.
So what the fuck, you liar?
So Ross gets hit with all of this insane stuff, right? The DEA hits him with everything. And this is around 2014 or something like that. Money laundering, computer hacking, conspiracy to traffic narcotics. He was ordered to be held without bail. Now, I've seen people who have murdered children, like really murdered children and raped children and fucked kids up and done really horrible things that have gotten half of what Ross Ulbrich ends up getting.
Yeah, they made an example out of him.
They destroyed this kid, dude, with no evidence about the attempted murders or
I was gonna say what's attempted murders.
That was the thing. There was no evidence. They didn't even end up bringing that all the way fully through. They just needed to add that onto the charge to make sure that everything else got cemented in. And like you said, the only reason this happened is because Ross Ulbrich made like $90 billion or $9 billion and the government didn't get a single fucking penny of it. And that's why marijuana is legal now. And that's why that's why the drug war is failing, is because the government is slowly making this transitional period to where they can get their nut. And so poor Ross Ulbrich ends up getting a double life sentence plus 40 years in a maximum security prison for creating the Silk Road. And his petitions have been denied every single year. They made a complete example out of him. They threw the book at him. My theory is that the government threw Ross under the bus, and that the government was the one who was running the drugs through Ross on the Silk Road. He essentially had set it up with them so that our government was able to move our own portion of the drugs through however we were supposed to. And when all hell broke loose, when another person, the IRS, which the FBI didn't account for, some random IRS accountant detective started putting the strings together, they threw Ross under the bus. And they crucified him because of it. And that's why there isn't anything like the Silk Road anymore. There's other copycat versions of it. There isn't anything as strong. There's nothing that's certainly producing $9 billion in Bitcoin, over the past couple of years. But the thoughts and the fact that he went out there and he was for 2 years, $28 million in Bitcoin. Now that conversion rate is like 58 million or something insane. Like, unbelievable, which
That's
means
a lot of millions.
he probably has more Bitcoins hidden in a wallet somewhere, and he's can't get to
Isn't
them.
it virtual?
Exactly, it's a virtual wallet.
Oh, I was like, I'm thinking of a wallet. I'm like, he just has virtual.
No, goof, it's a virtual wallet. So because
So you're
that's
gonna hit him up. You're gonna hit him up and be like, yo,
I'm
bro.
gonna start writing him letters, just like the
Yeah.
Tiger King did. Just like old Tiger King, everybody's writing letters to the Tiger King. I'm gonna write letters to fucking Ross Ulbricht. I've never written letters to an inmate. Have you?
No.
Why not? I find that interesting. Like, why people?
I mean, I have nothing to say. I had a pen pal in school.
In
I just
prison?
don't. No, it wasn't in prison.
Oh.
It was like some pen pal in some school in some other country.
Do you not
but-
talk to him anymore?
I fucking talked to them maybe just that year of school.
He's probably still waiting for you to send him a letter.
He's still by the mailbox. He's like a 37-year-old kid.
He's probably like, don't worry, my friend. Samuel will send me this letter, and he will bring me to America, and I will live with my friend Sammy Maskell.
That's
And
racist.
He has the little. Oh, is that racist? Why? Because he's a Mexican guy.
No, I thought it was black.
That's racist.
I thought you were doing an African voice.
But no, that's crazy, man. That just goes to, in all of this, it just goes to show you, man, you're not, if the government don't get a piece of it, bro, you're not.
Well, no, that's how I got fucked when I worked at the dispensary. The only reason they raided our dispensary was because there was a government-run dispensary that opened up close by.
Really?
Yeah, every time that happened in the valley, they would go around and raid all the ones around.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
15-mile radius.
Really? I had no idea that's why.
Yeah, so we were fine for a while, and then one popped up, and then slowly, all the other ones were getting fucked, and I should have seen the writing on the wall, but
It says Slavi, right?
hindsight.
Hindsight's 2020, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I thought that was the fact that I never heard of that story before. And
Yeah, I watched all of his videos as you were telling me that when I was remembering it. The ice cream wars was weird.
Oh, yeah, they're all crazy. They're just crazy stories. Like, it was just, but that one in particular just kind of just blew my mind because it seemed so not necessarily
Didn't he have
effortless,
one
but
about the guy who was jizzing in a box? It was jizz in a box. The guy was collecting his jizz in a box for like years, and it was
Are
a
you sure
thread
that
on Reddit.
It's a jar, not a box.
No, there was one about a box, and then he was trying to clean it, and he microwaved it.
No.
Yeah,
Fuck that. Ew.
yeah, and he said the smell won't leave, and
no.
he always had a Barbie inside of it, so there was a Barbie that he would come on that was inside of the shoebox, and he kept the shoebox underneath his bed. That's how the story was.
Nutting in it, bro. He just kept nutting in it.
Years of nut in one shoebox.
In 2008, on 4chan, there used to be a guy called Jizzlord.
The one who put it in the jars and bottles.
No, not him. That's Brony Bro. He used to fill the jars up with nut with the pony dolls in there.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck is wrong with people? That's some Seven shit.
Ew. Can you imagine if Lust hadn't been the dude it's just Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt going into a fucking room and it's just jars of nut everywhere and it's just like a dude who's like emaciated in a fucking corner and Morgan Freeman's like, if you look at him right there, that's Lust. He masturbated himself to death. And Brad Pitt's like, oh Jesus Christ, man. Oh, Jesus
What's
Christ.
in the jar? What's in the jar?
What's in the jar, man? What's in the jar? But Jizzlord, or whatever the fuck his name is, every Christmas, and it was a Christmas tradition, he would display all of his nut collection that he had collected over years.
And what did he collect them in?
Jars and 2-liter fucking buckets.
How much nut?
Coke. That dude he was a nutting monster.
That's who I'm talking about. He nutted in the Coke bottles.
Okay. That is that the box
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
Then
No,
we're
it's
talking
not the
about
box guy. Not the
Oh.
box. Sorry, the box guy's different. I was talking about another guy
then
that I was
that
like,
guy.
yeah.
Yes, that's the Jizz Lord.
There was a lot of pictures of his.
He'd come every Christmas and he would show everybody. And
you know who showed me that, right? Fucking Sarah was the
Jizz
one
Lord?
who first showed me that. She goes, "You never heard of that guy?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, he would fucking." And she told me all about this.
Shout out to Sarah.
Oh man, thank you for showing me the finer things in life.
Yo, but yes, crazy. Motherfuckers are just crazy. So I just jizzing
That's what I'm.
on. Just be a normal person and just like, I don't know.
What's with the fucking box? That's what I'm saying. It's like, why? I mean, and then once you fucking I forget what he did. He microwaved it or something, and was just like, it didn't help. It just made it worse.
No shit.
And then but he kept it, and then he moved. He moved, and he's like, I still have my box. I can't seem to get rid of it. And
That's
like,
so gross. I saw a TikTok of a girl who said her boyfriend had pissed her off. So she went under his bed and grabbed his jizz sock, the hard, old, dirty jizz sock, and she threw it in the microwave and heated it up for 2 minutes. And then she took it out in her bare hands and squeezed it into a bowl. And then she
don't throw up in your car.
She took the warm microwave jizz and put it into a syringe and then put the syringe in the dude's like toothpaste or whatever. Like the warm squeeze. Warm.
Oh my God.
Look, number one, do you know how long you would have had to use a sock for it to be as hard as a fucking board?
Well, that, but also it might not be jizz. It might just be like really bad gym socks. Because I've had gym socks that got.
You've had gym socks nah, brother. Unless your feet are nutting in your socks, the way she pulled out this fucking sock, it was a dirty jizz nut sock. And Sam, when she pulled that thing out of the microwave.
Are you talking like so can you re-liquefy jizz in the microwave?
From what I understand, I've never tried it.
Somebody, can you please try it?
Like
leave us a comment. Someone try it at home and leave us a comment.
If anyone on the Binge on This channel family is crazy enough to reheat their jizz sock, let us know how it goes and how it smells, because apparently that seems to be the going trend nowadays. But I almost puked when I saw that fucking thing. But
yeah,
but good, there you man. Go. Any final thoughts, my man? Any plugs?
No, so unfortunately, my buddy who blows glass, he used to be a bass player that I've played with, and he's always been difficult, and I worked him, and he doesn't want to do any kind of interviews, because he did an interview for Playboy like 10 years.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like a long time.
You telling me that.
Yeah, a long time ago, and he was made, I don't know, he thinks he sounded stupid. So he's like, I just want to sound stupid. I'm like, dude, we're going to just talk about blowing glass. We're not talking about dildos. We're not talking about sex.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about like the art and craft of
blowing
the glass blowing. Because I mean, he did pipes. He did other shit before that. So he's like, well, let me think about it. Then he's pushing me along to a buddy of his, Tim, who has a bar in K-Town. He's a brewer. Oh. So I'm going to interview him. But right now is not too good of a time. He had to board up his windows and.
For sure.
So he's like, but you'll talk to Tim, and I was like, cool. And so, but no, maybe some, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, in that vein, Sam of All Trades is popping out every week. So whether you are going to be interviewing Tim, or you interview, my stepdad or whoever.
I was also thinking, I kind of also want, there's a couple where I just want to sit and talk about something. like the trade of something that I do, like get into oil painting or deep dive into writing, for on my end.
What do you mean?
Well, so next time I interview so and so, the time after that, it's Sam's thoughts on painting with oils. If and again, it's just a good way to also fall back on for me if I don't have someone that I could just jump on real quick. I have a list of things that I can talk about.
Yeah.
Or I mean, not just talk about, but like really talk about, delve into.
Yeah. Whatever you want to, however you want to do it, that's fine. But
Those would be shorter and sweet.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I let everyone just kind of go.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to just like an hour of you doing your own thing. Like if that's what you wanted to do, we would just have to, we just make adjustments on our end as far as just how much we uploaded or what we uploaded. I'm not opposed to that. I guess I just like the idea. It's good. I like that. You would do it as like a mini Sam episode or like a mini sode, and it would just be you talking
Sam on something
like
that's something that I know. Yeah, something that I know.
Yeah, in between
10 minutes. It's good.
Yeah. Because then that would be perfect. Actually, yeah, that would be perfect. Because then that would give you enough chance for. Yeah, that's actually really smart. I support that 100%.
Awesome.
And then let's see. On my end, pretty much the standard stuff. We're really close to getting our YouTube link, guys. I know I keep bringing this up, and I sound like a broken record. And I bring this up to you as well, and everyone else who listens in our Roll 420 squad. But once we hit 100 subscribers, we can actually start putting YouTube/binge on this. It makes it a lot easier for people to find us. Right now, it's very difficult because
what are we at?
73.
All right.
After a year and a half. But
hey, one of the most successful YouTube stars I know, after a year, he only had like 80.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, we're doing something right. Maybe. Who knows? I'm happy. I haven't killed myself yet. We're still in. But anyways. So, if you guys, and I'm going to do a big part of this when I go to Virginia. I'm going to take everybody's phone. I'm going to make them subscribe on their phone. We're going to get to 100 by the time I get back to Virginia. From Virginia. That's going to be my goal. But if you guys, anyone in Japan or Germany or Africa or Big Mike in Australia, baby, woo woo. Anybody, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go subscribe. I want to try and make this easier for people to find us. Right now, we cannot put our YouTube link on our logo or our stickers because it is too long. We do not have our own youtube.com/binge on this, which is what we need. So if you guys can go out and subscribe to YouTube, it would help us immensely. And of course, you guys know that you have a variety of amazing shows on the Binge on this channel. Not only this, that, and the other with me and my friendly neighborhood co-host Sam, but you have Sam of All Trades. You have What's Hood with FC, Happy News with Perry Kurtz, Reading Ronin, and of course our flagship show, Roll 420s, a high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons show built for the everyday man. And as always, guys, my final thoughts on this. Just remember that everybody is pink on the inside. I said that last week, but I really mean it this week too. Huh?
Did you?
Yeah. Did I say that? Yeah, I did last week. All these days are running together, brother.
I know. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. And by the way, Big Mike, I talked to him the other day. He's still in Australia. He says, what's up?
No, I know. That's why I shouted him out, because me and Big Mike talk on Instagram. Sometimes he'll like send me a little message and he'll be like, you're doing good, man. And I'll be like, Big Mike.
Yeah. He's great. When I answered, this is mid riots, and I answer at home, and he goes, I love you, man.
Yeah, he's so amazing. I'm gonna go back and clip. We have so many episodes.
He wants to do it again, but he's just not sure about when he's coming back to the States. Or we could do it over Zoom.
Yeah,
but it's a little hard. But yeah, no, he said it like 5 times. He's like, I love you, man. And I'm like, Mike, what's up? He's like, I love you, man. Sweet. Just know that. And I was like, thanks, man. Because like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to woe is me, but like, I was just feeling pretty bad. I was just like, man, this fucking everything's going to shit. and it was like fuck cops, fuck
And
white
you're
people,
like, I'm
fuck
white,
this,
and
and I'm
I'm a
just like, I
cop.
know, like now,
And
what
I have
the
a cop
fuck?
mustache.
I do have a.
And then my one black friend is like,
I love you,
you, bro.
I know. It made me. I can't lie, man. I walked away from that conversation feeling good. I was like, man, that was
Well,
nice.
good, because I recognize you as the male oppressive patriarchy as you are, and so
Don't
fuck
tell
you.
anybody.
Fuck you.
I remember a girl told me like a few years ago, I was having a fucking Facebook argument, and she was like, you don't have a voice. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you're white and you're a man. So yeah, she was like basically like fuck you. And I was like, it was the first time that someone told me that you have no say. And I was like, huh? I was like, boop, boop. I felt like that lady with all the math equations around me. I was like, what are you talking about?
Did I wake up in Russia? Like,
Yeah,
what
I was
the fuck
like,
are you talking about? This is America, baby. Like
I was actually woman.
As
You
soon
don't.
as people say things like that, my American gene kicks in like so hard. Like I grow a mullet, and like in the background you hear "You're no real American," and I'm like,
You got a Chevy truck.
You listen here, you son of a bitch. This is America. Like, there's just something amazing about that. But no, shout out to Big Mike out in Australia. We hope that you're safe, and just know that we love you. And we love the rest of you guys. We thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to us.
Hold on. The point of me telling you that, there's a story behind that. I totally forgot the story.
What was it?
So fucking Mike tells me that Rocco, or that he couldn't access his ring on his house out here. And so he had Rocco stop by his house, and they're FaceTiming when he pulls up to the house. And Rocco's like, did you leave your bicycles outside? And he was like, no. He's like, Rocco, go to the side of the house. There's like a pathway to the back. You'll be able to see inside. And he goes down the pathway, and he looks up and he says, did you leave one of your lights on and windows open? Meanwhile, they're in Australia. So no, he's like, fuck no, I closed everything up. And he looks over, and he called the cops because the people were still inside. And then he FaceTimes Big Mike again and turns the camera to his balcony, and there's a fucking tall transvestite smoking a cigarette hanging off the side.
What the fuck?
There's 25 cop cars around the house. She's telling everyone to fucking leave her property alone.
What?
And then some other transvestite runs from the roof, jumps to the other roof of the neighbor's house.
At Mike's house?
At Mike's house. The balcony we interviewed him on is where she's like hanging over. Yeah. And then this other, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying transvestite because that's what I was told. Jumped from one roof to the other. And the cops caught everybody. And they were like, why are you attacking us in our own home? Why are you in our house? And basically
Sam, shut the fuck up. When did this happen?
This happened like, I don't know, a week ago.
What the fuck, bro? No way. And what, did they break in? Like, did they break his window and stuff?
I guess they were doing this all across the neighborhood. Fucking Rocco goes into his poor daughter's bedroom. There's used needles everywhere, used condoms.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
They had all the TVs off the wall. They had everything all piled up, ready to get taken.
Oh no! What the fuck?
Yeah.
Holy shit! And was Rocco packing?
Well, he was there with JD and stuff. I mean, yeah, there are a couple of bikers. Fucking,
hell yeah!
But they just called the cops, and they don't ever call the cops. Like Rocco's motto. That's
what I meant.
Rocco's motto all the time was like,
never
the motherfucker gets shot out here, we're not calling cops. And I was like, I feel you, man. Like, because that he does his thing. He's one of those guys. And I was like, when he told me he called the cops, in my head I was like, damn, Rocco called the cops. That's crazy.
Wow.
But no. Rocco wouldn't call the cops. Big Mike, I'm sorry, that's what it was. Big Mike's called the cops.
Oh, because Rocco wanted to take care of it.
And they wanted Rocco's number, and Rocco was like, don't give them my number. So Big Mike was like, I'm not giving him. I'm sorry, guys, I can't give him your number. And then his wife took the phone and was like, his number is this.
She would. I love her, though. She's so Australian. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So, no.
She's like, give me the phone.
Give me the fucking phone.
I'll give him the number. You guys want, you want his number? I'll give it to you. 555.
What is it? What's the Simpson line that Bart says to the kid when he calls him and he's like, does your toilet go counterclockwise, and the little kid goes there and he's like, yeah, it's going left to right. Like, it's great. Classic Simpsons shit. Oh, well, good. Well, we're glad that that didn't happen or turn it. Well, that's crazy, Sam. Why would you end? That should have been the first story.
I
you
forgot.
opened up
I
the
just
story
totally
with.
forgot. Then I wanted to talk about how Mike made me feel good, and then that other story came up.
Wow. Okay. Well, with that being said, guys,
I should probably take notes, and this is why.
make sure that you guys are locking your doors. Make sure that you guys are calling people when you're out of town, out of state, to come in and check on your house. And as always, make sure that you guys are loving each other, that you are staying safe, and remember, please, to dream a dream, 1,000 dreams.
Geronimo!
That's the news. That's the news thing that happens.
I got it. Beware. Beware drug-addled transvestites.
Up next, Samuel Maskell with his transvestite corner. 5 ways that you can prevent transvestites from breaking into your house. Are you safe? All right.